Don't forget to pick up your copy of Football Game Plan's latest book release, The Go-Go Offense by Coach Brendan Marion, as Coach Marion takes you through the ins and outs of his offense, the most explosive offense in college football that's lighting up the scoreboards and tearing up the college football fields. You can pre-order your copy today by going to footballgameplan.com/go-go-offense. Welcome to Football Game Plan, where football makes sense. I'm Emery Hunt, the czar of the Playbook. Mike McCarthy is your producer today. It's the summertime and preseason is just around the corner in the NFL, and we'll get you ready for the upcoming 2019 NFL season as we preview the Denver Broncos. Now, as we kick off the season preview, let us take a look at some of the key storylines heading into the season as we go into our 4-minute offense.
In Denver, Phillip Lindsay had a breakout season as an undrafted rookie in 2018. His draft status had him start the season with low expectations, but he exceeded his coach's expectations by running for 1,037 yards and 9 touchdowns. He also had 241 yards and a touchdown through the air. He's got talent behind him in the backfield as well, with Royce Freeman and Devontae Booker in the waiting. Lindsay will look to follow up on his breakout campaign with another impressive season. Will Joe Flacco play all 16 games? Joe Flacco was brought in by John Elway to be the starter for the 2019 season after acquiring him from the Ravens. After several underwhelming seasons in Baltimore, is Flacco the right quarterback for the Broncos as they look to return to the playoffs? Drew Lock was drafted in the second round to compete with him, and he's sure to impress in training camp after an impressive career at Missouri. Vic Fangio was brought in to lead the Broncos back to a winning record after 2 straight losing seasons under Vance Joseph. Known for his well-coached defenses in San Francisco and Chicago, Fangio wants to have the same type of elite defense in Denver. With bookend rushers Von Miller and Bradley Chubb and Chris Harris in the secondary, Fangio has the key pieces to build around as he takes command of the Broncos. Noah Fant and TJ Hawkinson were both first-round draft picks in this past April. Both received plenty of hype for their standout performances at Iowa. Which Hawkeye will have a better season as a rookie? Fant has a great chance to put up big numbers with Joe Flacco as his quarterback. While in Baltimore, Flacco was known for his checkdowns and short throws to his tight ends, who caught 86 passes from Flacco last season in Baltimore.
It's time to put this team under the microscope and go position by position to see where they stand as we head into the 2019 season, and we'll start on the offensive side of the ball at the quarterback position. The Broncos' quarterback situation is as stable as it's been in quite some time. Trading for Joe Flacco brings them a stable, winning quarterback that can take advantage of opportunities at all levels of the field. And he's coming in with a bit of a chip on his shoulder with something to prove. So that's going to be something to watch this season. I think they're going to get improved play at the position. They also drafted Drew Lock in the second round as the future at QB, but they're in no rush to play him as of yet. Lock is a really good prospect that is a stronger arm version of Derek Carr. They're even good at the QB3 spot as veteran Kevin Hogan will battle undrafted rookie free agent Brett Rippon for that job. My money is on Rippon, but even if they decide to keep Hogan and stash Rippon, they still have solid depth at the position, better than what they've had in quite some time. Phillip Lindsay is coming off of a historic rookie season, being the first undrafted rookie free agent to make it to the Pro Bowl. He provides good burst and explosiveness at the position and is very good on both ends of offense. Both he and fellow second-year player Royce Freeman played well as rookies. The hope is that they can both stay healthy for the full season, so it'll be interesting to see how much of a jump Freeman can make in year 2. Devontae Booker gives them a capable reserve that has good all-around game, and I would keep an eye on speedster Devontae Jackson out of West Georgia, who could be a camp surprise this summer. Where the Broncos are in excellent shape offensively, in my opinion, is in the receiving core. Both Cortland Sutton and Deshaun Hamilton are excellent targets that are entering their second year in the NFL, and we got to see the growth from Tim Patrick toward the end of the season. With those three showing promise on the field, it allows veteran Emmanuel Sanders to carefully work himself back after an Achilles tear, and once he returns to full strength, this core will be the strongest depth-wise from 1 to 4 in the AFC West. Former cornerback Brendan Langley has a chance to strengthen his unit as well, as he's making a move from corner to receiver. He has excellent hands. He just needs to master the nuances of the position. Now, the tight end group is primed for a breakout season. I absolutely love what they've accumulated here. Rookie Noah Fant was a big time get in the first round this year, as he gives them a strong flex option at the position. And I think his inline blocking ability is very underrated as well. But with the healthy return of both Jake Butt and Troy Fumagalli, this gives the Broncos 3 legitimate receiving threats at the position to go along with the solid Jeff Howerman. Expect big things from this group this season in conjunction with the arrival of Joe Flacco, who loves to feed the ball to the tight ends. Along the offensive line, Denver is looking for consistency from both tackle Garrett Bowles and center Connor McGovern. The hope is that new offensive line coach Mike Munchak can help in that department. Also, if guard Ryan Leary can finish a full season with the Broncos, they'll be just fine up front in my opinion. Rookie Dalton Reisner out of Kansas State figures to start at right guard next to Jawan James, and Reisner was one of the top offensive linemen in the draft because of his play and his versatility, while James was signed via free agency, and while he's talented, he has had his own inconsistencies that he's dealt with down in Miami, mainly to do with his health. Now, depth here is still a work in progress, but I'm also interested to see the development of second-year player Sam Jones out of Arizona State. Now, here is how I graded the offensive units for the Broncos. The Broncos' defensive line is solid and could see an uptick in the pass rushing department this year with rookie third-round pick Draymond Jones out of Ohio State. Right now, with Adam Gotsis, Shelby Harris, and Derek Wolfe, they're solid versus the run, but don't give you much as pass rushers, or at least on a consistent basis. I do like Zach Kerr, as he's one that could push for more minutes this year. He has that quickness and burst off the ball to be very disruptive. And Billy Wynn returning after 2 years could be a boost to the pass rush and the depth here as well. At the second level is where the Broncos are the most dangerous on defense, as both Von Miller and Bradley Chubb made a living setting up shop in the opposing backfield. Miller had 14.5 sacks last year, while Chubb ended his rookie season with 12. Now, losing Shaq Barrett in free agency leaves the door open for someone to step into that situational role, and it could be rookie Justin Hollins out of Oregon. The 6'5", 248-pound former Duck is athletic and versatile enough to play any one of the linebacker spots, so he figures to be on the field a ton this season. I would also keep an eye on reserve Jeff Holland and undrafted rookie free agent Ahmad Gooden out of Sanford, who was a two-time Buck Buchanan Award finalist, which is given to the top defensive player in the FCS. Gooden knows how to get to the quarterback. Now, on the inside, both Todd Davis and Josie Joel give them a capable duo, and Davis is strong in run support, and I think Joel is ready to break out this year in the middle. Gone from the secondary is cornerback Bradley Roby and safety Darian Stewart, so the Broncos will be looking to fill two holes there this year. Free agent Kareem Jackson looks to step in at corner opposite of Chris Harris, while Will Parks figures to get the first crack at strong safety opposite of Justin Simmons at free safety. Now, Denver went to work on the depth here as well in free agency with Bryce Callahan to man the nickel spot, as well as Devontae Bosby, both of whom have experience with Vic Fangio's defense. Don't sleep on second-year player Trey Johnson out of Villanova as well. He's a guy that can play both inside or out, giving them good depth at corner. Sua Cravens is another player that could thrive under Vic Fangio because of his versatility. He can blitz, play well in the short area zone, and is good in run support. It'll be interesting to see what growth both safety Jamal Carter, who missed all of last season, and second-year corner Isaac Yadam can make this year. Yadam's development could usher a full-time move to safety for Kareem Jackson, in my opinion. Now, here is how I graded the defensive units for the Broncos. This year, the Denver Broncos have a new starting quarterback in Joe Flacco, who comes over from the Baltimore Ravens. And what I like about Flacco's game is it still has that strong arm to drive the football deep down the field. So the playbook is entirely open, in my opinion. I'm going to show you how they can utilize his strong arm with those weapons that they have on the roster to generate big plays in the passing game. Here's what we're talking about. Noah Fant, the rookie tight end, we're going to put him on the same side with Deshaun Hamilton. We're going to put Emmanuel Sanders right here in the slot and Cortland Sutton on the outside. We're going to utilize his big body over the middle of the field. We're going to get this speed deep down the field. So, again, speed deep down the field. First, we're going to operate off play action. Have Flacco set up, giving those guys time to run their routes. Big route over the middle of the field. Get, again, that big body going across. Flacco could drive the football over the middle of the field in between two defenders. He does a great job in really setting his feet and then driving the football. Emmanuel Sanders and that speed going straight down the field is going to be a problem for anybody. You want the tight end Noah Fant, who's a very good route runner and excellent receiver, running that corner route, taking hopefully a safety away, and Deshaun Hamilton running a nice little comeback right there. So for Flacco, because of his arm, he has the ability to drive the ball to any one of these targets, whether it's a tight window here on the flag route, a nice drill throw there to the comeback, a nice drill over the middle to Cortland Sutton on the dig route, or the deep shot takeoff route for Emmanuel Sanders. And he can read this left or right, his first option, second option, third option, fourth option. Either way, Flacco has the arm to get it done. That's why I think the Denver Broncos passing game will look a lot better this year now that they have a guy in Joe Flacco at quarterback. One of the more underrated draft picks this past April was Justin Hollins out of Oregon, and the Broncos got themselves one of the more versatile defenders at the second level. He graded out as my #1 outside linebacker, pure outside linebacker, off-ball linebacker, as some may call it, in this year's draft class. And I think he's so versatile, he can line up virtually anywhere within their front seven and be in a good spot. Just show you what I'm talking about. When you look at Justin Hollins' game, he played outside backer at Oregon. I think he has potential, even though he wasn't asked to do it, as a pass rusher. So you can put him on the weak side and he can get after the quarterback. He's always been a very stout run defender here. You can put him on the strong side. He can beat up on that tight end and be in good position to set the edge, funnel things back inside, or make the play himself. He's also apt at playing in zone coverage. So you could have him essentially as your inside linebacker in your 3-4 defense because he has the length, the athleticism to take away passing windows. And when you have a guy that's this versatile at the second level and also playing within the front four, he's a guy that can definitely help this Broncos defense be even better this year. So it frees up an opportunity for another guy to get on the field. I think with him and Josie Jewell at the second level at inside linebacker may be the way to go this year for the Broncos defense.
Move on to the next division, finish out the AFC. It'll be kind of a long show, but I want to give you all the information possible, folks. This is why I'm here. I'm not here to just say stuff. I'm here to give you information that'll hopefully help you win a league, because I'm hoping that my information helps me win all the leagues I'm in. But the last division in the AFC is the AFC West. We're going to start off with the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos traded for Joe Flacco, drafted Drew Lock. Flacco's going to be the quarterback, most likely for at least the start of the year, if not the majority of the year. Can't touch him in fantasy football. He's never been able to be drafted in fantasy football. He's on the fringe of not being draftable in 2 quarterback leagues. It's just not his strong suit to put up big numbers. Philip Lindsay is going to be an interesting one because he looks like the clear-cut #1 running back. I think there'll still be some sort of timeshare element. You got a new coach who's coming in, and I think that he believes, just looking at a guy like that who's a defensive coach, I believe that he is more of a thumper type guy. That's Royce Freeman. So I think that you could see a little bit of an interesting dynamic at play. Wait till the preseason to make the determination, but that's just my early read on this scenario. As far as the receiver position, because Joe Flacco is the quarterback and because they have a defensive-minded coach, you're not going to have as many opportunities. In the passing game, Courtland Sutton would be the receiver that I want to take because of the big body. Maybe near the end zone, they make a couple of fade throws to him or something like that. You know, a little in slant because of the body that he can shield off. I don't think Emmanuel Sanders is going to get a lot of burn because that's not Joe Flacco's big game. He's more of a deep ball thrower, and he throws to tall receivers or to tight ends. It's not Emmanuel Sanders, so I don't think he'll have that big of a season. Same thing with Deshaun and Hamilton, unfortunately. Tight end position could be interesting. Usually rookie tight ends struggle, but Noah Fant was picked, I think, 20th overall, first round. They might try to force feed him, knowing that Joe Flacco also likes tight ends. So one to keep in mind. I would not go high on him, but if he's in those, the early teens, that 13th, 14th round, maybe 12th round even, preteens, I could draft him there. But what I would draft, because what I will tell you, I'm super excited about this team. I think the Denver Broncos could have the best defense in the NFL this year. You were giving Vic Fangio, Von Miller, and Bradley Chubb. That's all I'm going to say. Even their first 3 games at Oakland, Chicago, Green Bay. Duh. You want this defense. Trust me on this. They're going to be good this year.
Troy Anthony here, bringing you the best bets for the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos win line opens up at over under 6.5 games. Last season, the Denver Broncos finished with a record of 6-10. With the addition of Joe Flacco, I believe he's at least worth 2 to 3 wins. So at minus 137, I'm going with over 6.5 wins. Monday night, opening week, the Broncos take on the Oakland Raiders. At plus 112, I'm taking the Broncos on the money line. That's all for now. I'm Troy Anthony. Follow me on Twitter at FootballFandom, replacing the O's with zeros.
I'm David Hassagen, and this is Huddle Up with Hassagen. We're going to fire some quick takes about the Denver Broncos. Emery, who do you think the breakout candidates could be for this Bronco team?
Tight end position, but not the one you think. I think you look at Jake Butt. You can forget about him, man. He was a really good player coming out of Michigan. Had injury concerns. He got hurt in that bowl game and kind of got hurt, during his time with the Broncos. But he's healthy now. He's going to be a significant player on offense, strengthening that depth at the tight end position. And Isaac Yadam, the cornerback, second-year player out of Boston College, I think has a chance to really take another step this year.
Obviously, if you take a tight end in the first round, he's got to be your impact rookie. But who do you think is going to be an impact for this rookie class?
Fant. Noah Fant. Now you got Noah Fant, you got Troy Fumagalli, you got Jake Butt.
Yeah.
They have a really good tight end core, on paper for the Broncos, but defensively, Justin Hollins, the linebacker from Oregon, he was outstanding at the East-West Shrine game. He was outstanding on film. He can even play inside backer. So he's an outside backer, but also an inside backer. Could be a good player to keep an eye on for the Broncos.
Who do you think your X factors are going to be for Denver this season?
Joe Flacco.
Wow.
I like Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
I just didn't like him in Baltimore. I felt it was time to go. But when you look at what he does, he provides some level of stability at the position, which is something Denver needs. And when you look at that conjunction with their run game and with the ability to those receivers on the outside, Flacco is the perfect quarterback for this offense. And Josie Jewell is one of my favorite players because of how good he is in coverage. I think at the second level, being able to find success in the intermediate area of the field in the passing game, I think those two guys have to be significant X factors this year for the Broncos.
Who do you think is going to surprise some fans out of camp this year for Denver?
Let's go back to the tight end position, Troy Fumagalli.
Okay.
We talked about Jake Butt, talked about Noah Fant. Now let's talk about Fumagalli. He's a tremendous talent. Great hands. Was hurt last year, had some injury issues. Now he's going to be healthy. And again, it's going to prove to be a strength. We know Flacco loves the tight ends. Ahmad Gooden, an undrafted rookie free agent out of Sanford. Pass rushing extraordinaire, was up for the Buck Buchanan Award, which is the top defensive player in the FCS 2 years running. Goes to a situation where they lost Shane Ray. He can fill that void as a guy that can bring it off the edge.
A lot of optimism around this Denver team this year. Certainly a lot of weapons on the offensive side of the ball. Where are you looking?
They improved the offensive line. So the offensive line is better.
Yeah.
So that should help out the run game be even better than it was last year. Now you have a quarterback that can really push the ball vertically down the field with those options on the perimeter. And we just talked about the tight end position and defensively. One of the better defenses as far as applying pressure. Bradley Chubb, Von Miller. It's not to be optimistic about in Denver. But the cause for concern, let's look at the secondary. No longer they have Bradley Roby. There's some questions at the safety position. If they can avoid a letdown on the back end, maybe that's a way where they can, still try to get better, maybe go out and find some more people to help that secondary out. But I think that's where you're going to need those guys to step up and really play big. Emery Hunt-Azar, the Playbook here, and joining me now is fellow football game plan analyst Troy Anthony for this 4 Downs with Azar segment, continuing our season preview of the Denver Broncos. And as we take a look at the road to the Super Bowl for the Broncos, we're going to start with Joe Flacco, who came in to be their franchise guy. I know that franchise quarterback just gets tossed around a lot. I actually like Joe Flacco. I like that he plays with an edge. I love that he has that type A personality. He needs that edge this year. If he can bring that edge, the same edge he had in that playoff run, 11 touchdowns, no interceptions, go to the Super Bowl, get the check, get the Brinks truck backed up to his house by the Baltimore Ravens. If he brings that edge, considering how he left Baltimore to Denver, with what they have on the perimeter, Flacco could have a breakout season in year, 34? He is 34 years old, I believe. So he could really have a season where you're like, man, Flacco balling. So they got the talent at receiver. I think they have underrated depth at tight end. They have a backfield mate that they can run. So Flacco brings the edge with him that he had in that playoff run where he won the Super Bowl. Denver could be a problem.
Yeah, I think it's going to depend on how the receivers develop. We obviously know Emmanuel Sanders can sit there and be a number one. Deep threat. Flacco has a cannon. That's going to be fun to watch. But Cortland Sutton in his second year, he put on a little bit last year. I can't wait to see how he develops. Hopefully Flacco sits there, teaches him up a little bit, becomes a better wide receiver. But Denver also has this kid, Tim Patrick, I can't wait to look at. He put up a couple of numbers. He didn't really get that much burn, but going into this season, it'll be interesting to see what Flacco can do with him. But the tight ends is what I'm truly interested about. Huerman put on for a little bit, got hurt, but I think that he might do a little bit more work this season.
But you talk about those tight ends. You forgot to mention Deshaun Hamilton, the receiver.
Hamilton.
He's another one that, again, they got some dudes out there on the perimeter. Tight end position. Troy Fumagalli. You talk about Jake Butt. Can't forget about him. If he's healthy, he's another one.
He's got to stay healthy, though.
He's got to stay healthy. And speaking of staying healthy, no one talks about this, but Philip Lindsay in the backfield quietly was banged up a lot last year, despite having a breakout season where he made the Pro Bowl as a rookie, undrafted rookie free agent. But can he stay healthy, and can he have an encore performance? We've seen many backs in this league have one great year and fizzle out. If he can be the steady running game, dynamic running game in the backfield behind what could potentially be a very good passing game, a revamped offensive line, Broncos offense won't miss a beat.
No, I liked Philip Lindsay last year. He was a breakout star, undrafted free agent out of Colorado. Came out of nowhere. Everybody was thinking that Royce Freeman was going to have the starting job. Came in week 1, had a couple of yards. I was like, okay. Week 2, had a couple yards. Okay. Week 3 and on was just a breakout running back of the year, especially for fantasy. But for them to be able to go over the top this year, they're going to need that top 5 defense again. Von Miller has to get these guys in check. With the addition of Nick Chubb last season, there was some beef this offseason with Chris Harris saying that he wanted to get traded. Don't know if that got settled yet, but it's going to have to if they're going to have any shot of making this run. They're going to need that premier defense again.
I think Denver is one of those teams that no one is talking about. I kind of like what Denver is bringing to the table this year on paper. If Flacco can get back to that edge, they may be a problem this upcoming season. They could find themselves in the Super Bowl with the former Super Bowl MVP.
I have Denver finishing 3rd in the AFC West quietly. They've reloaded on both sides of the ball, and while there are some slight questions along the offensive line and perhaps up front defensively, they aren't significant enough for one to think that this team won't be in the hunt for a wild card spot. The Broncos are not that far off and could surprise some within the division this year.
So that's it for this season preview. I'm Emory Hunt, the czar of the Playbook. Be sure to follow me on all of our social media accounts. And don't forget to check out and subscribe to Football Game Plan Podcast on iTunes, where you can find our NFL All 32 podcasts, our fantasy football starting lineup, as well as our Scout Team podcast, and leave us a 5-star rating. Also subscribe to the Football Game Plan Network, located at youtube.com/footballgameplan. Finally, every Thursday and Friday evening at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time, be sure to check out the Football Game Plan show on the Game Plus Network. Check with your cable provider for channel listings.